very important verse, that how knowledge is to be received. That is the only way, that is the only access one can receive this transcendental knowledge. That is the vidhi. And what is the vidhi? Which is prescribed by Krishna. You remember we discussed what is the vidhi? Let us do some recollection before we go to the next verse. This is the final section of this chapter. Now Krishna will speak about the glories of this transcendental knowledge. What are the glories of this transcendental knowledge? Or what are the fruits or results of obtaining this transcendental knowledge? So in the verse number 34, he revealed what is the way to receive this knowledge. What is the way to receive this knowledge? A little louder. Give the mic. Very good. Very good. Yeah. By submission, before surrender, what comes is submission. Surrender is very high. Yeah. That is perfection. But how the beginning comes? Beginning is that one accepts. One aligns. One aligns his heart, his mind with the instructions of the spiritual master. So for that, what he has to do, there will be conflict. There will be difference of opinions. So what he has to do? He has to submit. Paripatena. He does not have to refute, or he does not have to argue. If he does that, he cannot become recipient of this knowledge. Because what is the first condition Krishna is saying? Paripatena. Paripatena means that he submits. His humbleness. He is humble. At least he accepts one person in his life whom he considers he knows better than him. It's very difficult for a conditioned soul. Most of the time he thinks that he knows better than the others. He is always in his dreaming state. He is always thinking that he knows better than others. So that is the delusion or illusion. So how to receive this knowledge? When we submit. So as soon as this submission begins, and not only submission, he should be inquisitive. He should have the urge to know. Like the best of the food you serve to someone, if he has no appetite, you cannot stuff it in his stomach. He has to eat. He should be eager to receive this knowledge. He should be inquisitive. He should be jigyasu. We mentioned that verse. What is the verse? Tasmat Gurum Prapadyate Jigyasu Shreya Uttam. One who is inquisitive. And just being inquisitive and just submission is not sufficient. He should be able to serve the spiritual master, satisfy him. So that means the knowledge is, where the knowledge is stored? In the heart of the spiritual master. It is not in the book. Like so many times we have discussed, when we take milk, you see milk, every day you get milk. But within milk, there is butter. But are you able to taste butter when you are drinking milk? No. Within milk, there is also ghee. But can you taste ghee? No. For that, there is a process. You have to follow that process. Unless and until you follow the process, you cannot extract. So similarly, the book is like the milk, which is having butter and which is also having ghee. Knowledge is there, but you cannot extract. The extraction right is given to whom? To the spiritual master, who is the representative of the Supreme Personality of God. So we discussed that who is the spiritual master who comes in Parampara. So now we will take the next verse. So what is the benefit or what is the result of receiving such a knowledge? So before we go to the next verse, we will do the invocation, the Mangalacharan. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadavayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Pashyatya Deshitarine. Hare Krishna. So by being humble, by submission, Guru can show us the path. He shows us what is the spiritual path. And by inquisitive, we can see the path. Without being inquisitive, even if he shows, we cannot see. We can, so that is the Gyan Chakshu. So Guru opens us the Chakshu of the Gyan so that we can see. We get the spiritual perception. Right now we only have material perception. Material perception is just relating to matter and the mind, nothing beyond. And with this service attitude, why you have to touch it? Let it live, no problem. Service attitude, we can walk on the path or we can move forward. We can progress in the path. So if one has taken to the spiritual path by the blessings of the spiritual master, he has satisfied the spiritual master. Then now Krishna is in the next verse revealing what advantage or benefit he gets. Verse number 35. Yad gyatva punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutani asheshani drakshyasi atmano atho mayi. So Krishna is saying yat gyatva. Yat means that knowledge. Which knowledge? Transcendental. What is this knowledge? What is transcendental knowledge? Every time I'm asking you. Why? So that you become clearer. What is transcendental knowledge? What is transcendental knowledge? We are hearing this chapter for 2 months, even more than 2-3 months. Chapter is entitled Transcendental Knowledge. So what is transcendental knowledge? Huh? Little, give the mic. Where is the mic? Eternal truth. Still not very clear. Knowledge is saying, knowledge. So what is that knowledge? Still not very clear. You answer. Krishna consciousness is eternal knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Not in terms of what Krishna is explaining. What is transcendental knowledge? Wait. Let others also participate. You have answered one question. Let us go to the other side. आप सुन रहे हैं इतने दिनों से, ये आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान क्या है बताइए, जोर से बोलिए, माइक में बोलिए। कुछ तो आना चाहिए ना, जब आप यहाँ आ रहे हैं, सुन रहे हैं, तो कुछ ज्ञान का वर्धन होना चाहिए। क्या क्या सीखा, क्या ज्ञान मिला, या दिव्य ज्ञान क्या है?
आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान मतलब ये हुआ कि
अपनी व्याख्या मत दीजिए
जी,
जो आपने पढ़ा है, पढ़ते हैं आप, आपने इस चैप्टर को पढ़ा तो फिर वहां से बताइए।
आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान में जैसे कि स्पिरिचुअल नॉलेज, जैसे गुण प्रभु को कैसे जाना जाए।
ये कौन से श्लोक में लिखा है बताइए? हम 34वें श्लोक तक कर गए ना, आप 35वें श्लोक में। आप कुछ भी बोले तो उसके पीछे तत्व होना चाहिए। हाँ, नहीं तो फिर कुछ भी बोलेंगे उसके पीछे कोई आधार नहीं है। यू आंसर या
Knowledge about how to plan with Krishna.
okay, knowledge about the self, knowledge about the self, who we are. That is the biggest ignorance that we are existing in. We do not know who we are. So the first thing is knowledge about the self, knowledge about the Supreme, and the relationship of the self with the Supreme. So that is transcendental. It's a relationship. Krishna, that is evam vivasvate yogam. That science of relationship. It has been lost. So Krishna is reviving that science of yoga, that yogam. He is giving that yogam. What is transcendental knowledge? The relationship with the Lord. So that knowledge is thing. So they yet gyatva. Once you have received what through this knowledge, what we are receiving? What we are receiving through this knowledge? Relationship. This is the missing link. We are receiving the relationship. And who can give this relationship? Spiritual master. Only the spiritual master. Many times people say, why do I need Guru? Let me have connection with the Supreme Lord. Last time we spoke about it. Like the fan wants to connect with the high voltage line. What will happen? It will get sparked. It will get spoiled. There is no way it can connect. It requires a transformer. It requires a transformer. So similarly, the relationship, the science of relationship is in the parampara system. And Krishna says that this knowledge is coming, this yoga is coming through parampara. Evam parampara prapta. So he's saying yad gyatva. So once you have received this knowledge, then na punar moham. Punar means again, and na means never, and moha means illusion. So you will never have the illusion. Whom is he speaking? He is speaking to Arjuna. What was Arjuna's illusion? What was Arjuna's illusion? Speak. This is very simple, common understanding. I give it to Dayashu, Dulam. What was Arjuna's illusion?
Prabhuji was thinking that his relationship, their own, and was not able to make.
Yeah, because of his bodily relationship, he was giving more importance to the bodily relationship than his relationship with the Supreme Lord. So that yogam was lost. So to establish that yogam, Krishna had to give this knowledge. And now Krishna is saying, yad gyatva na punar moha. You will never misidentify yourself. What is the illusion? That we wrongly identify ourselves. We do not consider ourselves to be spirit soul. We consider ourselves to be a product of matter. body. And we identify ourselves with bodily relation. I am the son of this, or I am husband of that, or I am father of this, or I am son of that, male, female, so many designations. So Krishna is saying, Yad Gyatvana Punar Moham. You will never ever fall into such illusion, delusion, misconception, misidentity again. Very big blessing. Why? Because even after hearing, even after speaking, we do not realize this. So what the Guru will give? Guru will give the realization. Guru will give the transformation. Otherwise, it will remain information. So with that transformation, he will be having no illusion. That illusion will be removed forever. What Guru does? Guru removes, we discussed last time, the ball of false ego. The Supreme Lord and the living entity Jivatma and Paramatma, both are where? Where are they existing? In the heart itself. But they are the closest. They are in the same place. Samane vrikshe purusha nimagna. Anishya muhyati. So it is like a branch on which the two birds are sitting. So similarly, the Jivatma and Paramatma are at the same place. Within a, very small area within the heart. But they are separated. And what is the separation? What is the wall of separation? What is the wall of separation? Pradeep? Speak in the mic. Prabhu, leave the mic here. Why you have to bring it here? Yeah. The wall of separation is devotional service. What are you speaking? Think what you are speaking. The wall of separation, I am saying, between Jivatma and Paramatma is devotional service. You're completely spaced out. Not just physically come here. But this is the self-absorption. So deep that we do not connect to what we are studying or what we are discussing. It's somewhere else. Yes? Yes. Then difference they mang wrong. Why are they separated? They are in the same place. That is there. अरे जीवात्मा के साथ वही है ना. अभी आप दोनों एक ही साथ बैठे हैं, यहीं बैठे हुए हैं. अरे साथ ही बैठे हैं ना, एक ही स्थान पे बैठे हैं. अभी जैसे आप दोनों बैठे, तो आप कितना भी चाहो, ये आप ये नहीं कह सकते ना कि ये है नहीं. नहीं, थोड़ा विचार करिए, गहन विचार करिए, विचार शक्ति का, विवेक का इस्तेमाल कीजिए. हाँ, सेंसेस तो है हमारी false ego. What the Guru does, he removes that veil of false ego. Because of false ego, one is always into delusion. One identifies or misidentifies himself with the body. So what the Guru does, by the process of submission and service, this veil of false ego is removed. So when the false ego is removed, then the real ego or the real Swarupa is manifest. In the 3rd chapter, Krishna spoke that Avritam Jnanam etena Jnanino Nityaverina Kamarupena Kaunteya Dushpurena Analena Cha. I think it is 339. In the 3rd chapter, in the 39th verse. Yes, 39th verse. Krishna is saying that the wise living entity is pure consciousness. Krishna is using the word Jnanino. Jnanino. So here, from whom we are receiving the knowledge? Jnanina Tattvadarshina. So what the spiritual master does, what the Tattvadarshi does, he removes the veil of illusion from us. What is the root of illusion? Is our false ego. That is why it is not easy to submit. And if you submit, that means you are freed from this world. Why? Because the reason for entanglement in this world is delusion, wrong identity. So yad gyatva na punar moham evam yasyasi Pandava. My dear Arjuna, this delusion that you are having, it will be over forever. You will not misidentify yourself with body and mind. You will be able to see your Swarupa, your constitutional position. You will always be established in your constitutional position. And when you are established in that constitutional position, that means you are at the spiritual platform. What kind of vision you have? You have spiritual vision. And what is the spiritual vision? In the next line, Krishna says, Yena bhutani asheshani. That you will see that all the living entities. With that spiritual vision, you can say bhutani asheshani. All these living entities, drakshasi. You will be able to see with that spiritual knowledge, with that spiritual vision, with the removal of false ego. What you will see? Atmani, that they all belong to me. They all have connection with me. Athamai. So having obtained real knowledge from self-realized soul, see what Prabhupada is translating. Having obtained real knowledge. That means knowledge also is unreal. That is Jada Vidya. Jada Vidya, Maya re Vaibhav, Jive ko kare Radha. He makes a fool out of the living entity. So having received or obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. Never you will fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme. So see, what is the spiritual vision? That he is connected to the Supreme Lord and he can see the presence of Paramatma in everyone's life. That Krishna will explain in the next chapter. That what is that verse? Very famous verse. Vidya Vinay Shampan. So this Vidya comes from the spiritual master. And he has submitted to the spiritual master. He is performing menial service. So what also comes? Vinay. Both of it is coming from where? It is the gift of the spiritual master. So Vidya and Vinay, and his Sampanne. Sampanne means he is received it or he is having it. So what he is able to see, he is able to have that spiritual vision. What is the spiritual vision? That spiritual vision is the gift of the spiritual master. That Brahmane Gavi Hastani. Shuni Cheva Sopakecha Pandita Samadarshini. So the receiver, the disciple becomes the Pandita. He becomes the Samadarshi. He is able to see everyone equal. Why? Because he sees the connection of the Supreme Lord with everyone. So he does not discriminate. So you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, they are mine. This is very, very advanced vision. This is very advanced spiritual vision. To be able to see everyone in connection with the Supreme Lord. That is the vision of the Supreme Lord actually. Because the Supreme Lord is Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. Name Dvesho Asti, Na Priya. So one who is in union with the Supreme Lord, one who has been blessed with the spiritual master, who has received this knowledge. So what is the result of this knowledge? One, that he is able to have equal vision, Samadarshi, and he is never ever put into illusion. That means he is freed from Maya. Who puts us into illusion? Maya. Maya. So receiving this knowledge means one is cross the nations of Maya. One is freed from the influence of Maya. That means he is freed from the influence of the three moods. He is liberated. He is on the liberated platform. So Prabhupada says in the purport, the result of receiving knowledge from a self-realized soul or one who knows things as they are is learning that all living beings are parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is a very advanced vision. The first understanding, the first level, so many times I have explained, is that I am not this body. Is it possible for a conditioned soul to accept this, that I am not this body? Entire life is centered around this body. His whole existence is this body. So to be able to understand that I am not this body for a conditioned soul is not possible. Then to understand I am not this body, I am spirit soul, it is even much more higher. I can understand maybe I am not this body, but I am my mind. How the body works? According to the dictation of our mind. So most of us identify, maybe we will not identify with the body for some time or to some extent. We can be beyond the body. But to go beyond the mind, is it possible? Not possible. To go beyond the body or the subtle body and to be able to perceive the self as soul. So that is the spiritual understanding. So that is the first level. First level is I am not this body. Second level, higher level is I am also not this mind. Then higher level is I am neither the body, I am not the mind. Then who I am? I am spirit soul. And the spirit soul is eternal. That is another higher level of understanding. Because mind and body is always changing. It is temporary. So with this temporary mind and with this changing body, we can never experience anything which is eternal or permanent. Can we experience anything? No, we cannot experience. But it is even higher level. That the spirit soul is eternal. Then even higher level is that the soul is part and parcel of the super soul. This is what Prabhupada is saying here. That he knows things as they are and is learning that all living beings are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's a very high level of understanding. To be able to see everyone as part and parcel of Krishna. That means to be able to see Krishna's presence everywhere. Jo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvamai cha pashyati. This is, I think, in the 9th chapter. Find the verse. Jo mam pashyati sarvatra. So that the living beings are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. The sense of an existence separate from Krishna is called Maya. What is Maya? Maya means, we have heard so many times, that Krishna is compared to the sun. And what is Maya? Maya is compared to the shadow. So where is the shadow? Where there is no sun. So as soon as we disconnect with Krishna, found the verse? Which verse is, which number is this? 6.3. 6.3. Okay, the yogi who has excelled. He says, this is 6.3. So for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me. That is what Krishna is saying here. Drakshyasi Atmani Athomai. That he sees that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or they are mine. So Krishna says, one who can see me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So the vision is, Prabhupada is saying in the purport, nothing can exist without Krishna. And Krishna is the Lord of everything. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness in the development of love of Krishna. So this vision or this realization can be received from the spiritual master. It is, and he said, Prabhupada is saying the sense of existence separate from Krishna is called Maya. So if we are not able to see that, if we are not able to see everything in connection with Krishna, or how that everything is existing due to Krishna, then what we see? We see separate existence. So that separate existence means it is the influence of Maya. We are in illusion. We are in delusion. Something that we have nothing to do with Krishna, and Krishna is only a great historical personality, and that the absolute is the impersonal Brahman. So these are various levels of understanding. But you see, having received knowledge from the spiritual master, one goes beyond all this. One goes beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman, and also one goes beyond the thinking that Krishna is the historical personality. Factually, it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the impersonal Brahman is the personal effulgence of Krishna. That we will see in the 14th chapter. Krishna will speak about it. Brahmano hi pratishtha. The 14th chapter, I think it is the second last verse. What is the verse number? So that Krishna will explain later when we will come into the Jnana section. But now here Krishna is explaining the perfection of performing one's duty to achieve the supreme. What is the duty? Duty is tadvidhi paripatena pariprashnena sevya. So then one can become the recipient of this transcendental knowledge. Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, is the cause of everything. In the Brahma Samhita, it is clearly stated that Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. So Brahmaji has realized it. Who is a bigger karma yogi than Brahmaji? He is so much, and he does the most difficult task of the entire creation. Can anyone have workload as compared to Brahmaji? Just imagine. He is creating all the universes and is putting all the jivas into the universes. So Brahmaji has realized. What is the realization of Brahmaji? Very famous verse. That Ishvara Parama Krishna. That the Supreme Lord is, there are many Ishvara. One of the Ishvara is Brahma himself. He has such powers. He has the power for creation. So Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, and he is Anadir Adir Govind. He is the cause of all causes. Sarva Karan Karan. So Brahmaji has understood this. Even the millions of incarnations are only his different expansions. So the foundation is, the root is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and from him there are so many emanations, there are so many expansions, there are so many incarnations. The Mayavadi philosophers wrongly think that Krishna loses his own separate existence in his many expansions. So why? Because they do not have this spiritual vision. They cannot have this understanding that how Krishna can unlimitedly expand. Prabhupada gives, to refute this theory, a very simple example. Very, very simple example. Even a small child can understand. The diffusion of the sun rays from the sun. How many sun rays are diffused from the sun? Can there be any count? Unlimited. So the potency of the sun is lost because it has diffused in so many rays. Is the potency lost? It is intact. So similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his expansions and by his energies, his diffusion of energies, the Supreme Personality does not change. He remains the same. This thought is material in nature. We have experienced in the material world that a thing, when fragmentally distributed, loses its original identity. Like we have a copy or we have a book. So if I distribute some pages of it to everyone present here, what will happen? The copy is lost. See what is the trouble? They have come to hear the class. So, but that is material. The spiritual means it is eternal and there is no change. With material vision or with material thought process, that is what I am trying to emphasize. One can have no spiritual understanding. There is no possibility of any spiritual understanding. But the Mayavadi philosophers fail to understand the absolute means that 1 plus 1 equals to 1 and that 1 minus 1 is also equal to 1. So this is Prabhupada's classic explanation. It is even very more bewildering to people. Those who are not submissive, they cannot understand how 1 plus 1 is equal to 1. Because that is lower mathematics. But in the spiritual part, 1 plus 1 is equal to 1. And 1 minus 1 is also equal to 1. This is the case in the absolute world. So what we have to do, we don't have to challenge it. Because if whatever we challenge or whatever we argue, by our intelligence, we can never understand. So what we have to do? Paripaten. We have to accept it. And as we accept, gradually as we advance, we will be able to know how it is. Like if a child, if he argues that he wants to understand the chemistry, why one formula is like this, can he understand? He cannot understand. Why it is so? Prabhupada is explaining. For want of sufficient knowledge in the absolute science, we are now covered with illusion. And therefore we think that we are separate from Krishna. Although we are separated parts of Krishna, we are nevertheless not different from him. So this is a very important principle of Shakti, Shakti Matayor Abhedha. In the morning also, we were discussing that Shakti, Shakti Matayor Abhed. That there is oneness between the energy and the energetic. Like the sun is the energetic. And what is sun's energy? The sun rays. So there is oneness. There is oneness or not? In the sun there is light. In the sun rays, is there light or not? In the sun there is heat. In the rays also the heat is there. So there is oneness in quality. That is what Prabhupada is speaking here. That we are not different from him. So there is oneness. Oneness is of the quality. But there is difference of the quantity. So it is Shakti, Shakti Matayor Abheda. So the Shakti is not different from the Shaktiman in certain terms. But the oneness is not absolute. The bodily differences of the living entity is Maya and not actual fact. So what is the bodily differences? Bodily differences means we see the material side of it. We don't see the spiritual side. We don't see the soul. Because the soul is the same. What is the dimension of the soul? Huh? What is the verse? Huh? You should be knowing the verse. Prabhupada has quoted that verse twice in the second chapter. Shatabhagasya. Shatabhag means 100 times if you divide the tip of the hair. And again that 100th part of the tip of the hair is divided further into 100 parts. So that is 1 to the 10,000 part times to the tip of the hair. It is so minuscule, so small. So that is the size. That is same. But the outer covering, the packaging is not the same. It is different. Some has huge size. Some is elephant. Some is whale. Some is 6 foot 5 inches. Some may be 5 foot. Isn't it? So the external differs, but the internal does not differ. So Prabhupada is saying the bodily differences of the living entity is Maya. Maya means matter or not actual fact. We are all meant to satisfy Krishna. By Maya alone, Arjuna thought that the temporary bodily relationship with his kinsman was more important than his eternal spiritual relationship with Krishna. So this is the biggest influence of Maya Shakti. That it covers our relationship with the Supreme Lord. The whole teaching of the Bhagavad Gita is targeted toward this end. That a living being as Krishna's eternal servitor cannot be separated from Krishna. And his sense of being and identity apart from Krishna is called Maya. The living entities as separate parts and parcel of the Supreme have a purpose to fulfill. Krishna has not created us without any purpose. So like many times people ask that why if the God is there, why he has created this world? Why in this world there is so much of chaos, there is so much of struggle, there is so much of killing. Now you are having another round of killing. Another war has started. In the Middle East, all of a sudden, thousands of people are being killed every day. So if God is there, first they say there is no God. If God would be there, then why this is happening? Or if they say, if God is there, then he is not in control. If he is in control, then why all these things are happening? So why it is all happening? Because everyone is thinking that his relation, why is this war happening? Why? Because of not having this spiritual vision, not having this equal vision, not having been able to see everyone in connection with Supreme. Then how can one kill? If one can see everyone's connection with Krishna, if we can see the presence of the super soul in everyone, can he kill? He will never kill. You see, this is the difference in vision. This is the difference in perception. I'll tell you one pastime of Srila Prabhupada. When Prabhupada was preaching, the first center he opened was in New York in 1966. And the first extension came in 1967 in San Francisco. So in San Francisco, where we had our storefront, there was one neighbor. They were called diggers. If you will read Prabhupada's Leelamrit, you will receive it. And diggers, a group called diggers. So they had farms. And their understanding was that everything should be sold free. So they used to collect some charity, some money from here and there. And on their store, they would sell things almost free. Although most of them were drug addict hippies. So at times, they would bring some bananas and offer. We had Lord Jagannath in San Francisco, DT, to Jagannath. But they had the condition that they will take the banana peel back. Only you can use the banana. But they wanted the banana peel back. Why? Because they used to burn the banana peel and inhale that smoke. That gives to be more intoxicant than LSD. So that kind of people, that lower level of consciousness are degraded. And then when the Rath Yatra was happening, so they were bringing their goods from the farm. So they had a big lorry truck. So when we organized our first Rath Yatra, the devotees did not have anything. So what they did, they asked for their truck. They could see the neighbor were getting the truckloads from their farm. So they asked this group to give them the truck, for Jagannath Rath Yatra. So in a way they were, supporting or helping or doing some service. So one day they desired that Swamiji comes to their farm. Their farm was much outside the city. So Prabhupada agreed. When Prabhupada came, Prabhupada agreed to go. Prabhupada used to agree to anyone, whoever was interested. Prabhupada got the opportunity to preach. So the farm was very far from the city. So they started early. They sent one car to bring Prabhupada. And Prabhupada with his few disciples, he went to that farm. And when they entered the farm, Prabhupada saw, the scene was completely different. So what he saw, the first person he saw Prabhupada in that farm, it was a huge farm, very, very huge farm, well spread out. So the car went deep inside, for many, many kilometers. So after many kilometers, Prabhupada saw one man and he was digging, as the name is diggers. So Prabhupada was walking, so Prabhupada saw him and Prabhupada asked him that, what are you doing? And he said, I am digging. I am digging to get some potatoes. You know, potatoes are sowed under. But he was completely naked. So Prabhupada had tears in his eyes. Prabhupada could see how he is digging this human form of life. He has got this human form of life and how he is wasting. Then Prabhupada moved ahead and then he saw everyone was completely naked. That was their, way of living. They would live on the farm, all kind of crazy people. Prabhupada has preached to such places, to such people that we cannot even imagine. We would not even stand with. When Prabhupada went to that rock concert in San Francisco, it was completely stuffed with all kinds of drugs. They were all smoking, the youngsters. They were all hippies, drug addicts. And they were in completely, unconscious state. Prabhupada went there and he met few of the people and he saw. And Prabhupada there, because he was invited, he did not let that opportunity go away. Prabhupada performed kirtan there. They made Prabhupada perform kirtan. Prabhupada did not speak there. Prabhupada told his disciples, they are so degraded. What will they catch? First, what we have to bring? We have to bring them to the human platform. That is why this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita cannot be received who are on the lower level of consciousness. One has to come to the at least human platform to receive it. So Prabhupada performed kirtan. And later when Prabhupada left, it was so much of impact of Prabhupada's presence there that every day they started performing kirtan. And from the diggers group, we received 5 sannyasis. Greatest of all sannyasis, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He was one among the diggers. What Prabhupada saw? Prabhupada had this reading. Yena bhutani asheshan drakshyasi atmani anyatho mayi. He could see the spiritual. He did not see their naked bodies. What Prabhupada saw beyond the body, the spirit soul. And he saw with the spirit soul, the supreme super soul. And he saw the suffering condition of the soul. And Prabhupada wanted to elevate, to release them. Prabhupada performed kirtan. So from there, from that group of diggers, as I said, we received so many sannyasis. They later came to Prabhupada and became his disciples. Vishnu Jana Swami Maharaj, Madhudvisa Maharaj, so many. Why? Because Prabhupada was not seeing their body. Prabhupada was not seeing their naked body. Prabhupada was seeing beyond them. So that vision. With that vision, he could completely enter into their hearts. Why? Because he was connected. He could connect with the super soul. He could connect with the soul. And he made them realize. He spoke to one of them. I think his name was Gaur Hari Prabhu. I read many, many years back. He said, Prabhupada asked him that, what are you doing with your life? You are digging your life. And that struck him. So this knowledge, it removes all the illusion, all the bodily designations and the bodily differences, and enables one to be able to see the soul and the connection with the super soul, not only of himself, with everyone else. He sees the connection. He sees the presence of the Supreme Lord. So there is a purpose to refill. Having forgotten that purpose since time immemorial, they are situated in different bodies as men, animals, demigods. Such bodily differences arise from forgetfulness of the transcendental service of the Lord. But when one is engaged in transcendental service through Krishna consciousness, one becomes at once liberated from the illusion. So unless and until service is there, and to be able to perform service, what is the first requisition? What is the foremost quality required for performing service? Huh? Submission. Very good. Submission. Without submission, there is no question of service. Prabhupada is saying, but when one is engaged in transcendental service through Krishna consciousness, Hamesha Prabhupada will always speak these two terms together. Krishna consciousness and devotional service. Unless and until one is Krishna conscious, he cannot perform devotional service. Devotional service is only to the extent one is Krishna conscious. He is liberated from the illusion. One can acquire such pure knowledge only from the bona fide spiritual master, and thereby avoid delusion that the living entity is equal to Krishna. Perfect knowledge is that the Supreme Soul, Krishna, is supreme shelter of all living entities. And giving up such shelter, the living entities are deluded by the material energy, imagining themselves to have separate identity. Thus, under different standards of material identity, they become forgetful of Krishna. When, however, such deluded living entities become situated in Krishna consciousness, it is to be understood that they are on the path of liberation. So what is liberation? Liberation means removal of one's false identity. Prabhupada will explain that through this verse. As it is confirmed in the Bhagavatam 2.10.6, Muktir Hitva Anyatha Rupam. What is the Anyatha Rupam? Any existence which is separate from Krishna is Anyatha Rupam. Swarupena Vyavasthiti. And Swarup is that I belong to Krishna. Krishna is my master and I am Krishna's servant. Liberation means to be situated in one's constitutional position. Here it is mentioned. As the eternal servitor of Krishna, this is Krishna consciousness. Okay. So this is the great reward or result or merit of receiving knowledge from the spiritual master. That we will never ever fall into delusion. That is one. We will know who we are, what is our eternal position, and what is our connection with Krishna. Not only that, we will be able to see everyone's connection with Krishna. So that spiritual vision or spiritual understanding, one will develop. And now Krishna is further glorifying this knowledge. He is saying that who can receive this knowledge? Not only who is very, very pious or who is only in the mode of goodness. This knowledge is so powerful, is so potent, that even if someone is most abominable, someone is most degraded, he can still receive this knowledge. This is the next verse. Api chedasi papebhyo sarvebhyo papakritama sarvagyana plaveneva vrijinam santarishyasi. So Krishna is glorifying this knowledge to such an extent. Krishna is so much satisfied, or Krishna is blessing, that whoever submits to the spiritual master, whatever may be his position, he may be even to the extent api chet asi papebhya. He may be the most abominable person. Who is an abominable person? A person who is a sinful person, a sinner. Sinner amongst sarvebhyo, amongst all. That means he is the lowest among men. Even if he is the most lowest among men, even if he is the most sinful man, Papa Krittama, who is always engaged in sinful activities. Krita means action, and Tama means the lowest of activities. Even though that was there, these people, what were they engaged in? Huh? Another side of their story was they would beg, borrow, or steal. They would beg, borrow, or steal. But they would distribute whatever they received free of cost. So there was the digger's free store. So what they were doing? Huh? They were performing all kind of sinful activity. To steal and rob is what? It is more sinful. And they were living like nakeds, nomads, or like trees. Sarva jnana plaveneva. So Krishna is comparing, Krishna is giving two analogies here. That's this knowledge, that knowledge which one has received from the spiritual master, it is like a boat. Jnana plavena. Plavena means the boat. So knowledge is compared to the boat. So one will be situated in the boat of the transcendental knowledge. And one who is situated in the boat of the transcendental knowledge, Vrijinam Santatarishyasi. He can cross. He can go beyond. Vrijinam means the ocean of miseries. He can cross beyond the ocean of miseries. Why? Like if you have to cross the river, what do you have to use? Boat. So if you are situated on this boat of knowledge, you can go beyond the miseries of this material existence. Very beautiful. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners. Papa Krit Tama. Tama means the greatest sin. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners. What is the example? Most sinful of all sinners? Mahaprabhu's Leela? Huh? Jagai Madhai. Most sinful of all sinners. When you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. So this world is compared to the ocean of miseries. That is why Krishna will speak in the 8th chapter. This is Dukhalyam Ashashvatam. But due to illusion, moha, Tribhi Gudmayi Bhave, Ebi Sarvamidam Jagat, Mohitam. Everyone is thinking that this world is for Sukham, that they can be happy here, or they can enjoy and become happy here. So that is why, because of illusion and delusion. So if once the person is situated in this port of transcendental knowledge, then he can easily cross beyond the ocean of nations and miseries. So this material world is sometimes compared to the ocean of miseries. Sansar Arnava. This Samsar Arnava. Arnava means the ocean. And what kind of ocean is it? It's Samsar. Samsar means which is ever changing and which is full of miseries. Every moment there is some misery inflicted. So that Sansar Arnava can be crossed. How? When one is situated in this boat of transcendental knowledge. And sometimes this material world is compared to, what is the second analogy? You are seeing me as if you have never heard. You don't know. Every day you sing that, first thing that you sing in the morning is what? Huh? The Sansara Dava Nalilo. But we only speak. We enjoy the tune and the music beat. We have nothing to do with the meaning. It has not reached our heart. In the morning, we were discussing the glories of the holy name. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur is saying that transcendental sound has to be preserved in the heart. We have to hear where the mantra is to be heard in the heart, where the organ also does not hear. So it is also compared to the forest of the blazing fire. So one can cross beyond this ocean of miseries. This is another great merit of receiving this knowledge. One who engages in pure devotional service, Srila Rupa Goswami says that there are 6 symptoms. What is the first symptom? Is Shubhda. He invokes auspiciousness in everything he does. Is auspicious. Second, there is Kleshagni. That he is able to overcome all miseries. How he is able to overcome the miseries? The Krishna is revealing. That Sarva Jnana Plane Veva Vijanam Santarishyasti. He is situated or he is seated in this boat of knowledge. Just contemplate that one who is sitting at the shelter of the lotus feet of his spiritual master, surrendered and performing service. What is this position? He is situated in that boat of transcendental knowledge. And in that boat of transcendental knowledge, he is crossing the ocean of miseries. What an exalted position. And people are thinking that if you have to accept a guru, what you have to do? You have to submit, you have to serve. So Prabhupada says proper understanding of one's constitutional position in relationship to Krishna is so nice that it can once lift one from the struggle of existence which goes on in the oceans of nations. This material world is sometimes regarded as an ocean of nations. This is Ajnana Sagara. Or it is also called as Andhakupam. Andhakupam. And sometimes as a blazing forest. Same thing. In the ocean, however expert a swimmer may be, if somebody falls in the ocean, however expert he may be in swimming, what will happen to him? How long can he swim? 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours, maximum how much? 24 hours. Now after that, what will be the result? He will drown. He will receive the Jal Samadhi. He will be lost in that great reservoir of water. So this world is compared to the material ocean. This is the ocean, unlimited. When we went to Rameshwaram, we were seeing the ocean. And I was just trying to see the other side of the ocean. No possibility of seeing the other side of the ocean. It's so vast. The vision is limited to whatever, distant we could see. We just saw water. Only water and water. And we were standing on the shore. If one is in the center, what will he see? And what is his possibility of reaching the land? No possibility of this. So similarly, Prabhupada is saying that however expert a swimmer may be, the struggle for existence is very severe. Has anyone survived? No one. Ahani bhutani gacchanti yamale. Shesha savra ikshanti. But the others, they cannot see. Do they see? They cannot see. They cannot see that their life will also come to the end. Nor do they take any lessons from it. Do they learn? Do we learn? Shesha savra ikshanti. But the others, they are thinking that this will never happen to me. Kim ascharyam atha param. So can there be any further surprise than this? This is the greatest wonder of the world. Why? Because we do not have the spiritual vision. That spiritual vision is the gift of the spiritual master. If someone comes forward and lifts the struggling swimmer from the ocean, he is the greatest savior. So that is the spiritual master. He comes forward and lifts the struggling swimmer from the ocean of material existence. He is the greatest savior. Perfect knowledge received from the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the path of liberation. The boat of Krishna consciousness is very simple, but at the same time, the most sublime. And to substantiate how this works, Krishna gives the analogy, very beautiful analogy. I'll take that verse also. Yatha dhamsi samridho agni bhasmasat kuruto arjuna Gyan agni sarv karmani bhasmasat kurte tatha. So Krishna is giving the example of the fire and the wood. Although the fire is inside the wood, but when the wood becomes ablaze, when it comes in contact with the fire, external fire. So the Supreme Lord is already present in the heart. But can we experience the presence of the Supreme Lord? No, we cannot even feel the presence of ourselves. That soul is there. So the external fire is required to ignite the fire which is inside the wood. Then it becomes ablaze. So similarly, without the help of the spiritual master, one can never realize that he is full. And there is the connection with the super soul. So as the blazing fire turns firewood to ashes. So the outside fire, when it comes in contact with the wood, what happens? The wood is ablaze and it turns into ash. Oh Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge. So Krishna is saying, Samridho Agni Bhasmasat Kurute. So the Agni which is outside, when it comes in touch with the wood, what it does? Bhasmasat. It burns to ashes. So similarly, Gyan Agni, the fire of knowledge. So this transcendental knowledge is also compared to fire. What it does? Sarva Karmani. Gyan Agni, Sarva Karmani. So whatever actions one has performed, karma, whatever karma he has performed. So what is the result of performing karma? Reactions. One receives the counteraction of the actions. So what it does, like the external fire, when it touches the wood, it ablases the wood and converts it into ash. Similarly, when one has received this knowledge of this compared to the fire, what it does is sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute yatha tatha. So it burns to ashes the reaction of one's actions, whatever he has done in his life now or even in his previous lives. So that means all his action, all the reaction of karma, that account is burned. Finish. Over. One stroke. That means no more future body. What does karma mean? So many times I have explained. Karma means creation of future body. So the entire account of karma is burned to ashes. That means he is freed, he is liberated. He will return home back to Godhead. So as a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burns to ashes all reactions to material activities. Why? Because he is no longer on the material platform. He is on the spiritual platform. And he is guided by that spiritual knowledge, by that spiritual vision. Perfect knowledge of the self and super self and the relationship is compared herein to fire. So what is transcendental knowledge? Perfect knowledge of the self, super self, and the relationship. And that knowledge, that transcendental knowledge, is also compared to fire. This fire not only burns up all reactions to impious activities, but also all reactions to pious activities, turning them to ashes. There are many stages of reactions: reaction in the making, reaction fructifying. So reaction in the making is called aprarabdha. It has still not manifest. Like sometimes you sow a seed, no? But as soon as you sow a seed, do you get the fruit? No, it will take time. Some seeds may take less time, but some seeds may take prolonged time. So as we perform actions, karma, some reactions we receive instantly, immediately, but some reactions are received at a prolonged period. So the reaction is being explained here. The actions in making, which has still not been manifest. Reactions fructifying. That means which is in the process of being manifest. Reactions already achieved. That is prarabdha. What is the reaction already achieved? What is the reaction we have already achieved of our previous actions in previous lives? This body, this birth, already reaction we have received. This is prarabdha, which has already manifested. And reaction a priori. That means which is not even in the seed stage. But knowledge of the constitutional position of the living entity burns everything to ashes. Whether it is in the seed stage, whether it is in the sapling stage, whether it is in the fructifying stage, whatever may be the stage, it is all burned. When one is in complete knowledge, all reactions, both a priori and post priori, are consumed. In the Vedas, Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 4:4:22, it is stated, Ubhe uha vaisha ete taranti amrita sadhu asadhuni. One can overcome both the pious and impious reactions to work. So when one is situated, one has received this knowledge. So see, if you have pious reactions, then what will happen? You will get the opportunity to take birth in such a situation or circumstances where you can enjoy more. But you have to take birth. And birth itself is the suffering. With birth also comes three things free. You get one, buy one, get three free. That is the deal. With birth comes old age, disease, and death. So actually, it is suffering. But one has to be intelligent enough. So when one has received this knowledge, not only he burns like in the last verse, it was spoken, api chedasi papebhyo sarvebhyo papapritama. Then only the impious thing, only the papa is burned, na? But what about punya? So here Krishna is saying, both are finished. That account of karma is finished. Whether good karma or bad karma. One is beyond the realm of karma. Where is the law of karma working? Where does the law of karma work? In this material world. But the person is in spiritual existence. So material existence does not apply. The law of karma does not work. He is beyond the law of karma. Which law works? Law of Krishna works. He is under the law of Krishna. The Krishna factor. If we do not have Krishna factor in our life, then by default, what do we have? Karma factor. And karma will not leave us. Karma will never leave us. Only when Krishna factor is there, then one can go beyond karma. This is Krishna is explaining how to go beyond. Okay. So I'll stop here. It is 5 minutes to 9. If you have any question, inquiry, doubt, please ask. Very beautiful. So Krishna is giving this, advertisement, promotion, that what is the result of receiving such knowledge? What is the gain? Huh? Why we will take pain without knowing the gain? What is the gain? The gain is unlimited. One can be free from the ocean of miseries. One can be free from all sinful reactions. One will be free from all delusion and illusion. And one will be able to have equal vision. One can see everyone's connection with Krishna. There are many more. This entire section, Krishna will speak the glories of this transcendental God. Okay? Hare Krishna. So this is Tattva Vibhrama. One of the anartha is Tattva Vibhrama. So that Tattva Vibhrama is when you receive this knowledge, that Tattva Vibhrama is relieved or released forever. The Tattva Vibhrama has four integral components. First is the Vibhrama about the self. Then the Vibhrama about the Supreme. Then the Vibhrama about the process. What is sadhan and sadhya. Then the Vibhrama about what is unfavorable. What is favorable and what is unfavorable. So all one is freed from all the Vibhrama. The Tattva, he knows the Tattva. If he knows the Tattva, that is Krishna, then Vibhrama is gone. There is no Vibhrama. Yes, you took the mic.
How spiritual work
Huh?
How remove
He engages the disciple in loving devotional service. What the disciple has to do? Think. He has to follow the instructions. If he follows his false ego, can he follow the instruction? Can he do menial service? Can he serve? So this is the duty of the spiritual masters, to remove the false ego. That is why the spiritual master is very strict. If the people who are saturated with ego, they will not leave their ego. They will leave the spiritual master. Why? Because ego is their most prized possession. They will keep suffering from one body to another body. So how the spiritual master removes the false ego? By engaging him in Krishna service. See, he is not engaging him in his own service. He is engaging the living entity in Krishna service. Krishna says that Mamevaya prapadyante maya metam taranti. I release him from Maya. What is the most subtle veil of Maya? Is the false ego. So he is, by performing devotional service, he is reinstituted in his constitutional position. Mukti hitva anyatha rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. What is the swarupa? What is the swarupa? Mahaprabhu told? Krishnere Nityadas. So what is the Nityadas means? He has to do seva. So what does the spiritual master do? He engages the disciple to perform devotional service. And he gives knowledge also. He makes him Krishna conscious. So the spiritual master makes the disciple become Krishna conscious and engages him in devotional service. So he is freed from false ego. Right? Hare Krishna. Yeah, so please ask. Please ask. हाँ, अभी तो दो ही बहुत है. क्लेश अग्नि. One is released from all miseries. So how one is released from all miseries? Through this knowledge. So that is why this knowledge is very much required. Don't think, yeah, there is so much of time. अभी क्या जरूरत है, बाद में गीता पढ़ेंगे. अरे गीता कभी आएगी नहीं, कभी जान ही नहीं पाएंगे. जो अभी नहीं तो कभी नहीं. ऐसा एनवायरनमेंट दोबारा मिलेगा ही नहीं. यस सोनिका.
अच्छा प्रभु जी, अंदर पढ़ना. Prabhuji, please explain the last line
Unmute and
of
speak.
purport.
Can't hear you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Can anyone hear her? Unmute. You are muted.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Am I audible?
Volume बढ़ाइए. Increase your volume.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
हाँ? पता नहीं मैं म्यूट हूँ क्या? मैं तो म्यूट नहीं.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
हाँ, आपकी आवाज आ रही है? रविंद्र की आवाज आ रही है? यस रविंद्र प्रभु.
प्रभु जी और माता जी पूछ रहे हैं 36 वर्ष का लास्ट लाइन, परपोर्ट का लास्ट लाइन के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं.
Prauri and post Prauri. 36
The
का
boat of Krishna consciousness is very simple, but at the same time the most sublime.
It is very simple for those who are simple-hearted. Why? Because he accepts the authority of Krishna and is representative of spiritual master. Sublime means something, which is beyond the realm of our understanding. Sublime. Krishna consciousness is sublime. Like you give water to the root. डालते हैं ना, वो water से क्या होता है? सब जगह पहुंच जाता है. तो exact mechanism do you know? कैसे जाता है? उसके अंदर कोई पंप लगा रखा है? That put the force that from the root the water reaches to the highest branch and the leaves. How it goes? Can any scientist explain? Is there any mechanical process to take it? No. Like the heart is there and it is pumping blood. The scientists are finding what machine is there in the heart. Can they find? Can they find? They can never find. You put food in the stomach. You take a small capsule, very, very small capsule. That goes in the stomach, you have headache. And the headache is gone. How it works? Very difficult. But the effect you see. You can see the effect. So similarly, that is sublime. The boat of Krishna consciousness is very simple. Very simple. Why? Because there is only 3 things to do. Paripatena, pariprashnena seve. Nothing else. But at the same time, it is most sublime. So it requires immense faith and simplicity of the heart. Then one will be able to do that. Otherwise, it is not possible. Prabhupada uses this word many times, sublime. You find dictionary meaning. Very difficult to understand this word. Few words Prabhupada uses. That Krishna consciousness is sublime. Can you hear me? Are you able to hear? You can type. Network issue is there. Okay, we'll stop here and we will hear the glories of this transcendental knowledge in the next session. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande.